Welcome to Derby Gaol, where many prisoners were hung in this jail. In this jail, as you can see, many prisoners were hung. Come with us as we walk through and take a glance of the history behind this jail, where in these cells women and children were kept, and many men were hung at the gallows. So join us tonight as we look at the executions in Derby Gaol. Enjoy.
County jail. It's a jail, not a prison. There's a difference. And the difference is that this is like being on remand. And was the second of 3 county jails. So any crime committed in Derbyshire, if you were caught, you ended up being brought here. But you were only here until the trial. So if you missed the summer assizes, you had to wait here until the autumn assizes, and you'd be kept here like being on remand, and then punishment was meted out on you, which wasn't imprisonment, apart from if you were a debtor. If you owed money, then you would be kept here until you paid off your debts.
It's like a holding cell.
Which was a bit difficult. If you got no money.
Yeah,
You could be here a long time.
You could be here a long time,
Yeah.
or family or somebody would eventually pay your debts, or you commit suicide in here.
Wow.
Loads of suicides have taken place in here, obviously. So the punishments meted out to you were being whipped at the cart's tail till your back be bloody. So they tied you to the back of a horse and cart and whipped you through the streets of Derby. Stripped naked, stripped to the waist, male or female, and when you got back here, salt rubbed into the wounds when you were taken back into the cell. Depending on the severity of the crime that you'd committed, you could well be taken out again next week and whipped again, obviously with the same wounds. That probably did kill you.
Yeah.
I mean, the crimes back then would be, I mean, you could be
Trivia.
death for just
Basically.
nicking a sheep or a sheep
Oh,
or something.
yeah, you
loaf of
wait.
bread.
You wait. Then the next one was branding with a red hot branding iron with a letter T on the side of your cheek.
Yeah.
Letter T, that's an early form of CRB check. You try walking into a jeweller's shop with a letter T on your face.
Yeah.
That's it. Then of course there was transportation. But the fascinating thing about transportation is that everyone thinks that it was all Australia. It wasn't, it was America. All of our convicts were sent either to the Spice Islands, the Caribbean, parts of Africa and America. And then we lost America in 1776. We couldn't send anybody to America anymore. And so we got nowhere to, we hadn't got prisons that were big enough to accommodate all these people that had committed crimes. So what we did was we put them on prison hulks on the River Thames, which was an old rotting ship that they converted into like cages inside it, and they locked you up in there, and then whoopee, we got Australia. 1787 the first fleet went from Portsmouth or Southampton, I can't remember which, to Australia, and then all our convicts did go to Australia. But originally it was the United States. Got a load of convicts there, just the same. So that's whipping at the cart's tail, branding, transportation, or hanging. When industrialisation took over big time and everyone moved from the towns, everyone moved from the countryside into the towns to work in factories and mills and what have you, the crime rate went through the roof. Literally through the roof, because people were living in very squalid conditions, very poor wages, and the government needed to do something to try and control the crime rate in this country, and so they thought the best way of doing that was to kill as many criminals as possible. And from 1723 in this country there were 222 hanging offences.
Wow.
Think of a crime, trust me, it was a hanging offence from 1723. It was called the Bloody Code.
Yeah,
Stealing a sheep, stealing a cow, shop breaking, house breaking, burglary, rape, attempted rape, murder, attempted murder. Setting fire to haystacks. 4 men hanged in front of this building in 1817 for setting fire to a haystack.
Wow.
In the same year 3 men hanged and beheaded. beheaded in front of Derby Gaol. The last beheading with an axe in Great Britain, in front of this building. The last rebellion in England, and the last sentence of hanging, drawing and quartering in provincial England, here in front of Derby Gaol. It's got a pedigree second to none on this place, I tell you. Breaking down riverbanks was a hanging offence. Cutting down ornamental trees, poaching, shooting rabbits, well that's poaching anyway.
Yeah.
Appearing on the street with a sooty face.
Huh?
But that's a job though. You could
Yeah.
What?
It could be like a
chimney cleaning
scrubber
it.
or a cleaner or a chimney cleaner.
I presume chimney sweeps had to have a wash in between jobs.
Wow.
Or hang on a minute, did they work at night?
Yeah, they'd have to, otherwise.
Yeah.
They probably didn't, to be honest with you.
It's weird.
But basically, why did you have a sooty face?
Yeah. Well, cleaning
Camouflage cream.
chimneys.
Camouflage cream. You're a burglar. Or you're a poacher. Blackened your face.
I used to hide your identity.
Yeah.
And so you've been out burgling or poaching, hanging a fence. Absolutely unbelievable. Anyway, I am working towards the reason why a place like this is so haunted. Because obviously it's the nature of the place. You see, right, what am I all about? I'm interested in the history that caused the ghost. I'm not interested in, there's a grey lady in there, who's a pink lady in that one? There's a ghost in there. Oh, yeah, no, I want to know why there's a ghost.
Where
Who
it
is-
originated from.
Who is the ghost?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What happened to the ghost that
Yeah.
caused it to be a ghost?
Yeah.
And that's where the reality comes in my opinion. So it's the history behind the haunting, if you like,
Yeah.
which is all, I think it's all important.
Yeah.
So anyway,
Yes.
so we've got all these hanging offences, right, from 1723. Right, so we've got a young chap of 26. He's got 4 kids. His wife's pregnant with a 5th. He was working in Derby Silk Mill and turned up late for work one morning, so they sacked him. His wife's pregnant with a 5th kid, so she can't go out to work, and the kids are starving. Sounds a bit similar, doesn't it?
Yeah.
They stopped eating completely 2 weeks earlier, and any scraps they could get, beg, borrow, steal, whatever, for the kids. So he goes off up the road to a place called Kedleston Hall, and he snares 3 rabbits.
Oh.
And he's walking back through the woods with these 3 rabbits, and he's caught by the gamekeeper. He's brought here to Derby Gaol. The rabbits are confiscated and used for evidence in the court. So the
They're gonna smell a
the kids don't even get them, right? And he's sentenced to hang. He's brought back here to Derby Gaol to await execution in the condemned cell, knowing that not only he's going to die,
His family is.
but his family's probably going to die. They were dying anyway.
Yeah.
Before he risked his life to get food for his kids, they were starving. So without Dad, the breadwinner,
Yeah.
Mum can't go out, she's pregnant with a 5th kid.
Yeah.
They're probably all he knows that, sitting in the condemned cell waiting to die. Then we've got another lad called, God, I can't remember his name, something Wielden. Come on Phil, you should help me with this. Can't remember his name. No, Joseph Wielden. Joseph Wielden hacked his niece and nephew to death with a gorse hook.
Jesus.
A gorse hook is similar to a scythe,
Yeah, it's a
but it's
scythe.
straighter. It's for hedging.
Yeah.
And the little boy of 8 put up quite a fight, and he hacked him to pieces on the kitchen floor. And his little niece, his 4-year-old little girl, he beheaded her.
Jesus.
And he was brought here to Derby Gaol and put on trial for murder and sentenced to death. Now guys, I don't care whether you're into executions or not, or whether you believe we should do it or not. Of those 2,
Yeah.
we all know, don't we?
Well,
Which
for
one?
Similar situation.
Yeah, that situation, yeah.
Yeah, so similar situations but different.
Yeah, but guess what?
Me-
As you can imagine, they were both hanged.
Yeah.
As were hundreds that were hanged for the most trivial crimes in this country.
It's the innocent people
Yeah.
that makes it more
I mean,
sad.
innocent
Yeah.
people. Yeah. So it was rather unfair, to say the least. So they decided that they needed to create a punishment for murder that was worse than a punishment for murdering 3 rabbits, or for breaking down a riverbank, or setting fire to haystacks. And of course, this was where the church came in. again. And forgive me if anybody is... I don't think you'd be on a ghost hunt if you were particularly religious people. But I have a big down on not on the church at all. I have a big down on what man has done to the church and how we've corrupted it for our own gain, greed, and revenge. Basically, that's where I am with the church. All religions, in fact, to be honest with you, they're all designed to control us. In some way.
Area.
And have created ghosts big time. So the church came up with this brilliant idea of, for a murderer, creating a terror beyond death. A terror beyond death. Anybody? Marriage?
Don't you think we were playing?
Yeah. So terror beyond death. Right. The first part. So in 1752 they passed the Murder Act. The government passed the Murder Act with the help of the church as well. And the first part of the Murder Act was that no murderer after 1752 was allowed to be buried.
Right.
Oh.
All right.
No burial, right. So, no 6 foot of English earth, no gravestone with your name on it, no family around the grave, no Christian burial service to lay you
To rest.
Yeah,
to rest, which is one of the phrases I use so much in the ghosty stuff. If you're not laid to rest, where are you?
Exactly.
Yeah.
You are abroad,
Unsettled.
wandering the earth. There's a tormented soul, a ghost, basically.
Stuck in a loop.
So it's created again. But of course, what are we going to do with the body?
Burn.
Burn it.
Burn it.
No.
Now, what I really would like to do now is to take you into the murder room and explain the second part of the Murder Act.
Oh, so I think I know. They're being took to medical science, weren't they?
Ah.
Yeah.
So,
They've just come to me then.
will this mess things up if we with camera wise and everything else now if you go in there or not?
No.
No.
I can cut that off in a second.
Of course about it is that the profession of a ghost, if it had one, wouldn't be to scare you.
No.
Sorry, they're not
Living
allowed to get you.
No.
They were you and me.
Yeah.
They were human beings.
But do you think that they really are a human being, or do you think there's something else as well?
Oh, who knows what's out there, or not out there, but here on another dimension, frequency, spiritual plane, spiritual level, heaven, hell. God, we don't know.
No, we know.
We don't know enough. We really don't know. We're too busy with Jupiter and Mars and things rather than looking into our own minds to be vital in our own brains to see what's going on out there. But so as regards Most Haunted, all I can say is thank you, Most Haunted,
Yeah.
for because it's done my profile the world of good.
Yeah.
It has, yeah, to be fair.
But I right. Okay. Have you ever heard of anybody screaming before they fainted?
No.
No.
No. Well, why would someone scream before they fainted? Well, because if they didn't, the camera wouldn't catch them in time before they fell down, would it?
Yeah.
It was
Oh, I get you now.
You see where I'm coming from?
Yeah.
So, and you see, the next thing I will say is that, to be quite honest with you, most of the people on the show, it's the only show I knew of really that behind camera people became front of camera. The makeup girl, the rigger, the director, the sound man, they all became superstars in their own right.
Yeah.
They all got fan club. I don't blame them.
Yeah.
But to me, you know, falling over, feeling sick, getting a headache, getting scratched, that's not what it's about, in my opinion. And so I believe that I needed to go because I knew that it would it would go down.
Yeah, and you don't want to
and
go
I
down with
didn't
it like
really want to go down with
sinking
it because
Yeah.
I think I know what I'm talking about as regards ghosts.
ship. Mm.
And I have to say, I don't think some of the people that were on it did
No.
understand an awful lot about what ghosts were.
Yep.
But I still thank them, and I think they created a show second to none. Oh, there's no doubt about it. Come on, we can talk about it. But the other thing I will say, and this isn't not just necessarily Most Haunted, but I cannot understand why when a paranormal investigator, usually on TV of course, when something ghostly happens, they scream and run away.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I noticed
I don't get that. I really don't get it.
Surely
Yeah.
you should rejoice
Yeah.
that something's
That's what you're
happened.
going for.
Yes.
Yeah? No! It's like being frightened of fish and going fishing. Oh, I hate fishing! Yeah. Do you see what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
And that to me, Big Butch, whatever his name is, Zach somebody or other,
Oh,
No,
you
so big and I
you're
can't.
running away all the time, frightened of. No, you're not frightened. You're a paranormal investigator, and if something happens, you should really get down to the nitty gritty and start. First thing you do is you tick the normal boxes first, and then when you've got a box without a tick, you start investigating. You don't run away.
No.
Nope.
Because you want to know what it is first.
And again, I hate to say it.
Run
I'm
towards
sorry.
it, not
Yeah,
away
run
from it.
towards
Yeah. What's that noise? Oh,
I'm sorry, paranormal groups out there, guys, but all this, are you scared? Dare you come on one of our ghost hunts?
Yeah, well, so
You know,
Yeah, it's like,
Yeah.
what are you going to do?
What do you want me to do? Stand
Exactly.
Do not-
But then again, you see, guys, it's like going to Alton Towers. You wouldn't go on the runaway train that goes round and round and round. You'd go on Smiler, wouldn't you?
I was talking about that before.
Fear factor.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, because it's the adrenaline, you run towards.
Yeah, and that's why we
away
watch.
from
That's
it.
why we love to watch ghost programs.
Yeah.
Yes.
Unfortunately, TV thinks that it's got to be scary, and it probably has. Otherwise, they think people will switch off.
Yeah, but that's it as well. Ghosts are not constant all the time. They'll
Of course
just
they're
happen
not. They
when they want to. You know,
They're
it's
not
just,
performers.
yeah.
Yeah.
But trust me, guys, there is room for a real documentary type ghost program
Yeah.
that explains. Because now everybody is so fascinated by it because of Most Haunted
Yeah.
that they actually want to know more
Yeah.
about what it's really all about. And I'm the man to tell you. Go off in. So I'm going to start. We'll do a bit. I mean, you got all night. You can stay all night if you want. I told you that. You're quite happy. I will.
Now we're getting locked in now.
But if you want to, you can. Honestly. What's the word ghost mean? Well, when I wrote the book, which is out there at only £10, signed copies available. Well, I wrote the book. It's called "What Is a Ghost?"
Yeah.
But so I thought I'd better find out what the word means. Ghost. G-H-O-S-T. Come on then. What's it mean? Come on. I didn't know.
Go on.
I ain't got a clue. But you're a paranormal investigator. You're on the ghost hunt tonight.
Yes.
Phil knows,
Those are the
doesn't
first
he?
time I did
What does the word mean?
Is it
It's
not
separating
something to do with-
dots, doesn't it? It's G dot, da-da, da-da-da.
No.
I was more thinking something to do with spectral something or other.
Okay. Well, actually, if you went to the
Human-
Oxford English Dictionary, it says the disembodied spirit or soul of a dead person.
Yeah.
No?
And the next question I'm going to ask, which is going to really get you, is the word ghost a noun or a verb?
Now.
I have no idea.
I think a noun.
You know the difference. I mean, it's a bloody long time since I was at school, kid. But I mean, a noun is hang on, glass. That's a noun. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
a thing.
It's a real thing, yeah.
A verb is a doing word.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry, but the word ghost is a verb.
Alright.
Ah.
This is great stuff. This is unbelievable. Right. Okay. So the word ghost comes from a Proto-Indo. You go to sleep, Phil, if you like, because you've heard all this before. Yeah.
Night.
It's a proto, I don't know what that means by the way, Proto-Indo-European word, goizd. G-H-O-I-D-Z, goizd. What does it mean? To be frightened of.
Ah. So it's actually in the word.
It's a verb. I'm frightened. That's a doing word. Do you know what I mean? Right, from that goizd, G-H-O-I-D-Z, comes the Old English word ghost, G-O-S-T, the Old English word ghast, G-H-A-S-T. The German Geist.
Geist.
Saxon Poltergeist. Right. The Flemish word Geist, G-H-W-S. They all mean the same. They all come from this Proto-Indo-European word, right? When William Caxton came over to England in the 1400s from Holland, he brought a printing press with him. First time ever. And before then, everything was written down by scribes, by monks and nuns, you know. But he came over with a printing press, and he took every English word, would you believe, and put it into print. And he took the Middle English word ghost, G-O-S-T. But it come from Holland. He spelt it with a silent H. Ghost. We got our ghost. Wind back to Old English, ghast. Have you ever been aghast at something?
Aghast.
Have you ever seen something ghastly?
Yeah, ghastly. Yeah.
It's frightening. It's a bloody verb. Anything we don't understand that walks through the wall, footsteps going up the stairs, doors opening and closing, bumps, bangs, taps, rattles, things flying across the room, blah, 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 anything to do with it, we're frightened of it.
Yeah.
And
It's not going, isn't it?
we call it a ghost. I want to change the name from ghost to energy.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
Entity.
we normally really refer
It's
to
energy.
Yeah, I would like to say
But
ghost.
the problem you've got, if I advertised an energy walk round Derby, people wouldn't come on it.
No,
No.
no, they
They
wouldn't.
Yeah.
wanna go
No,
for it.
no.
But that's the word. We are nothing but energy. First law of thermodynamics, you can either create or destroy energy. That means that the energy that is you, and there's two parts, this is my latest, just, Solomon, stop me when you're ready and say, will you shut up and can I get on with yeah? There's two parts to us. I don't think anymore that the brain is where the mind is. I think the brain is the hard drive that stores the energy, stores the information, more than that as well. I think your mind is all over you. And it's your spirit, your soul, your energy, your consciousness, your ego, you. And when I say you, I mean you, because there's only one you, you know, in this universe. There might be others that look like you, but there's only one you, and you are nothing but electromagnetism, energy, and you cannot destroy energy. The other part of us, of course, the vessel that holds the energy, that's energy, and that becomes more energy, because when you die, your body becomes fertiliser for daffodils. It's still energy, but there's a within energy that cannot be destroyed, that has to go on in another... What's happening?
What happened?
What you'd say.
I'm just feeling like that on the top of my head.
Oh, right.
Just here.
I'm falling off my chair.
Whoever it is walking backwards and forwards. Yeah?
Yeah.
Didn't mean
Did it
first, didn't
tickle your head?
I have
There's a
been
mosquito
seeing
there.
children.
Again, yeah, it could be
No, it's all right.
or whatever. Yeah.
Mosquito.
Oh, I mean, they listen to us, don't they, Phil?
Yeah.
There's no doubt about
It is
that.
haunted.
They listen to us.
It's haunted.
Yeah, they do. Especially Mr. Simpson.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
My friend.
Yeah, I know. So and it's nothing. That's the whole thing. It's an energy thing, right? That's what we are. So the word goes, but right, I'll zip through it very quickly if you want me to, or if not, just stop me. I believe there's two parts to the ghost business. One is 40%, and the other is 60%. And I believe the 40% of ghosts, I'm going to keep calling them ghosts.
Yeah.
Never mind the energy stuff or anything else. 40% of ghosts is an intelligence that's you. Your personality, your ego, your consciousness, your spirit, your soul, you. In an ideal world, that should go to wherever they go to. But it's not an ideal world. We don't always make it. In an ideal world, all babies should be born head first. But it's not an ideal world. We have breech births, and, you know, it's all that sort of, yeah, you know what I mean? And so it isn't an ideal world. And so they sometimes go off at a tangent and end up spinning or get trapped or lost or whatever. But the other reasons are, and this is an intelligence, by the way, that knows you're there, that can come back to you and be around you if you need them, especially grandparents and things like that. big. The night before your execution, they came into the condemned cell and interviewed you and wrote down your life story. This is like a Westlife programme. This is what they wanted. These were sold for a penny a sheet at your execution, so that people could read about you, because you were the star performer. Incredible. So, part 2 of the Murder Act, right, 1752. No murderer was allowed to be buried, so what we're going to do with the body? The death sentence for a murderer after 1752 was that you be taken back from this courtroom to the jail from whence you came, and from there to a place of lawful execution. There you will be hanged by the neck until you are dead. Now remember this bit, until you are dead.
Yeah.
There's a really valid point in this bit. And then publicly dissected and anatomised in the Shire Hall here in Derby, or the Shire Hall in Nottingham, or Leicester, or Stafford, or whatever county there it was. So, after you were dead, or hopefully dead, you were taken to the Shire Hall, laid on a dissecting table, and the first thing they did was wire you up to a battery. I'm not talking of 4AA batteries either. I'm talking of a huge vat of water with a zinc tower in it and a copper tower in it and wires. This is in 1752, by the way. You do know the Egyptians had batteries, do you, in the pyramids? Not in the pyramids, but yeah. Oh, there's nothing new on this planet, I'm telling you. So they wired you up, one of your legs would go up in the air, the chest would heave, the face would sometimes... People fled, because don't forget this was public. He's coming back to life! Well, they weren't far from the truth, were they?
Sounds like Frankenstein.
How?
Doesn't it?
Yeah, it does, yeah.
You wait.
Yeah.
How do we bring people back to life?
Shock.
Yeah.
Electricity.
Yeah.
1752. Right, anyway. Right, guy from Derby, Erasmus Darwin, grandfather of Charles Darwin.
Oh,
Yeah.
Most incredible guy you would... I'm not going to go into the history lesson, but he invented evolution before Charles Darwin, photosynthesis, steering mechanism for car. Anyway, forget all that. He was a doctor. He dissected murderers here in Derby.
Ooh.
He was fascinated by electricity. And when Mary Shelley wrote the novel Frankenstein, if you've got a copy, have a look at the preface. The inspiration for this novel is Dr. Darwin of Derby, because of dissecting murderers. Oh boy. Anyway, after they played with you a bit, right? The next thing they did was flayed the skin. They pulled all your skin off, sent it to the tan yard here in Full Street in Derby, tanned your skin, and used it to bind books telling of your life and trial. If there's a big enough piece of skin, a pair of slippers for the local mayor as a souvenir. There are up and down the country.
Are you wearing Dave?
In glass
Sorry.
in glass cases to this day in museums, there are books bound in the skin of murderers. One of the best ones I've ever had anything to do with is
New Louis Vuitton handbag.
Yeah.
at Moyses Hall in Suffolk, in Bury St Edmunds. There is a book bound in a murderer's skin and his pickled scalp with one ear still attached. Still on display. I've had that in my greasy little mitts when I did Ghosts of Suffolk. They've let me take it out of the glass case. There's books up and down the country bound in human skin of murderers. The next thing they did was they boiled your bones in a big cauldron to get the meat off them, and then sent them to the local skeleton maker, wired up, and then presented to the local hospital. There's a real skeleton behind you there.
Yeah. That is a human one.
Yeah, that's real. And the little skull at the bottom, which has disappeared. Oh, it's here now. Well, you're right. If you look at the two skulls in this second glass case,
Yeah.
the one on the right is a child under 6. It's still got its milk teeth in it.
Oh God, yeah.
And that came out of a badger set at Tutbury Castle.
Wow.
That's called.
Guy walking his dog. Saw this skull lying on the ground by a badger set. Incredible. So after they boiled your bones, your bits were all removed and cut up and used for the furtherance of medical science. Of course, that was the part of the idea. There's a down bottom. There's a heart at the bottom there in a glass case in a bottle. There's a brain in a bottle down.
No,
Yeah.
brains.
Yeah.
Oh, look at them after.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
And
No.
now, yeah,
You
the
know, we just had the Chinese.
so the terrible part about this was that you, the person, the human being, ceased to exist. I mean, completely. You were obliterated. There was nothing left of you. You were gone, which they feared because the people. Right. The punchline of the story is, guys, the body wasn't whole, and that meant on the day of judgment, no physical resurrection for you, no material resurrection. Which don't forget was the body of Christ that came out. So you have the day of judgment. Apparently, we all come back together again. You know. Do you know that? Yeah, we all come back together. Do we bollocks? But that's what they believed at the time.
Yeah.
So the body wasn't whole on day of judgment. So they know they're not going to get in through the pearly gates. They ain't going to go to hell. I'll stop here, thanks. That's cause goes, and that's what they were doing. They were condemning them to hell. That was the terror beyond death. Hellfire and damnation. Ripping of flesh and gnashing of teeth and all the terrors of Dante's Inferno, all this mumbo jumbo. Of course they believed it. They got nothing else in those days other than their religion, their faith.
Yeah.
Because death was commonplace. Most people were dead by 40.
Yeah.
Kids died before them. They'd been in battles, executions. It was the afterlife that was so dramatically important to people in those days that they tried everything in their power to be able to get in through the pearly gates. Well, you take somebody to pieces like that,
Yeah.
they know they're not going to get in through the pearly gates. Same thing with hanging, drawing and quartering with Catholic priests and things like that. The body wasn't whole, and so on the day of judgment, they're going to go to hell. Now, it was up to the judge. He could do one of two things: have you public dissected or gibbeted.
Yeah, that.
Hung 30 feet in the air near the scene of the murder, with the fowls of the air pecking at your flesh and pecking out your eyes. And we did it twice in Derby. We did it to a guy in front of Derby Gaol in 1815, Anthony Lingard. I believe he's still lingering here. And they hanged him, and then before he was executed, the blacksmith, as they always did, used to measure you for your last suit, which was the metal cage, and they hung him up in 1815. And they didn't take him down till 1826.
Ugh.
Yeah, you used to just leave
There's
them,
the
didn't
pub
you,
in
to
Sheffield, isn't there?
There is indeed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to go there. I want to go and do a
Sheffield,
talk
yeah.
there. I want to do the
It's now a
execution.
hotel.
Is it?
Yeah, it's not a pub no more, it's a hotel.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
And I believe like the Leopard Inn's gone as well, hasn't it?
Oh, the leopard's gone.
Oh,
That's
yeah,
going to be
burned down,
apartments.
I was gutted.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's
Yeah, it
gonna
got
be
burned down,
apartments,
didn't it?
isn't Yeah. I never got to
Wants
do
to
that,
go there.
unfortunately. I never got to do that, unfortunately.
Mm.
Quite something. So that's the terror beyond death. And it was. I mean, it really. What did it work? No, I don't think so. I don't think it stopped murders. It didn't stop murders.
It was more like a statement as well, wasn't it?
It was revenge.
It was,
Yeah. Right, that's done. This room. Let's go back down there now and took place where this window is. It's not a window. It's a door.
Oh,
And
this,
it opens.
there.
This one.
Is it one of those rotating metal ones? Is it?
And the gallows was built up to the lip there,
Oh,
and they
Christ.
stepped out through that door. Have you seen the face on the right hand side?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I know it's just happened, but good, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like
That's
half
good.
a
That's
face.
like
Yeah.
half a
Very
face.
Paranormal,
Yeah.
isn't it?
And
Yeah.
all the executions took place there. The last public execution in Derbyshire took place in 1862 in front of this building.
Wow.
The ghost of Dick Thorley still haunts the place, apparently, to this day.
The ghost of who?
A guy called Dick Thorley.
Right,
He's the last man publicly executed in Derbyshire.
right. What was his crime?
He slit his girlfriend's throat in, Agard Street, back of the jail, in Agard Street there,
Right,
in 1862.
right.
20,000 people turned up to watch him hang.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's a lot of people.
That's like a,
Does
okay.
it go on a night out?
that's like a football match.
Turn up then. You know the people that turn up to obviously watch. Do they have to
Did they have to pay?
No.
It's just free.
Right.
Oh no, it was all free. Yeah, it was free.
All free for a
but
watch a hanging.
basically, I mean, the pubs ran out of beer. They had pie sellers, pickpockets, and they were selling these penny dreadfuls, these documents, the programs for people to watch. Anyway, in 1843, 3 guys. You know, we were in the murder room. Did you see those 3 death's heads? Those 3 death's heads. Well, those 3 guys, they're death masks of 3 guys that were hanged on the top left-hand side of the gatehouse.
Oh Christ!
It was 3 years after the railways had come to Derbyshire, and they ran special trains throughout Derbyshire. 40,000 people turned up here to watch them hang.
And they all hung at the same on the same day.
They all hang together, 1, 2, 3, on the gallows at the top of the building.
Right.
Then they carried them back down into the dead room at the bottom here, and made plaster casts of their faces for phrenologists to study, because they thought it was how many bumps you got on your head as to whether you'd got murderous tendencies or not, which is absolute bollocks. But they believed it at the time. Yeah, it was discredited, totally discredited. But yeah, and then the first person hanged stepped out through the doorway was a guy called John Leadham, and he was hanged for bestiality.
Oh, yeah, yucky.
It was a sheep. It's true what they say about Derby County. Called us sheep shaggers, you know. So it's true. So it's a good one to have someone from Nottingham on a ghost walk. And they go, oh yeah, I knew it was true about Derby County. Yeah. Anyway, let's go in and have a look, shall we?
Yeah.
Because it's haunted.
Big butt sheep.
Thing left. These are all offices, and then apartments and maisonettes and everything all around the back. So 11 acres, and all that's left is the wall. But when you look at the wall, you wouldn't believe there's rooms in there. Doesn't look wide enough, does it?
No, it doesn't. But don't forget, people were smaller then as well.
Oh, that's very, very true. Oh yeah.
Because you always see doors with like that with little hobbit people.
Little hobbit people.
Hobbit people, Simon. Little hairy people. Hobbit people.
Yes.
It is, it's through the hairy.
Oh wow. Okay.
What was that, Minnie? Say that again.
Now we know exactly what the Holly's from.
Brilliant.
It's the hobbit people.
The Hobbits people.
Put the light on. I'll spoil it and put the light on. Oh, I hate fluorescence.
Oh, that's bright.
That's horrible.
It's actually a lot wider in
I can't believe it. I know, isn't it funny? Yeah.
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 You know, you were on about earlier about hung until dead.
Yes. Oh, yes.
I actually saw something only yesterday that I come across this. It was on TikTok, and it was a woman who got hung, and about I think it was 20 minutes later she came back alive.
Yeah.
And then they changed the ruling to say that they would have to be hung until they were dead.
That's correct. But the problem was, and this is where, right, Derby was famous not only for Frankenstein, but also for the dissection of the brain in Derby. Because they believed, well they didn't believe, it was correct, that a criminal they referred to them as having a thick bull neck and an incredible sense of self-preservation, and if they hang them in the winter, when hypothermia sets in, they believe that even after half an hour they could still be alive. And some were, and there are quite a few cases of hanged people, murderers, being actually killed by the surgeon breaking the Hippocratic Oath by killing them with a scalpel.
Wow.
And there's a famous case in Lancaster of a young Scotsman, a soldier called Mackenzie, a 19-year-old soldier, and he got in a fight outside a pub, and he stabbed the bloke in the throat and killed him, and he was hanged, and then he was going to be publicly dissected, and they took him to surgeons. They got a surgeon's hall in Lancaster, and they laid him on the table, and the surgeon was called away for an emergency. And they left him on the table, and then 20 minutes later the surgeon came back into the dissecting room, and Mr. Mackenzie was sat bolt upright on the table begging for mercy.
Wow.
The surgeon picked up a wooden mallet and smacked him on the head and killed him because he wanted the body for dissection purpose, but breaking the Hippocratic Oath, doing the executioner's job. And again, when they cut into them, sometimes they were still alive, they were killing them, breaking the Hippocratic Oath. It's incredible, incredible what went on. Bonkers. So down here, guys, as the procession comes to the condemned cell, with the padre, the vicar or whatever, reading your burial service while you're still alive. And you come in here, and this is the last place you prayed with the vicar or the priest or whatever, down below in what they call the dead room, down here, before going up those steps, and waiting for you up there's the hangman. So, yeah. And then after you were dead, they brought you back down here and made the plaster cast of your face in this room here. It was known as the dead room. And for many years this was a Greyhound Stadium, Derby Greyhound Stadium, and they used to see a dark shadowy figure in that corner door. I mean, it wasn't like this, it was decorated and whatever. And they used to see, but they used to live with it. The girls who ever worked in here, office or whatever, apparently they lived with it, and it would appear, they said it didn't have features, and it was just this dark shadowy figure, and it wouldn't sort of be there and gone. They said it would be there for a few moments, and in the end, I mean, first of all they'd sort of get up and run, but after a time it used to happen so often they just got used to it, carried on, because again, no, didn't do anything to them.
Yeah.
Most
don't.
Yeah.
Just appear and people just run away.
Yeah,
It's like,
exactly.
stop and watch.
Of course we're frightened, I
Yeah.
understand that, of course we don't understand it. That's another of my phrases, don't fear what you don't understand,
Yeah.
but we do. So, and then you were taken up there into the drop room and prepared for the execution. Shall we?
Can we go up?
Of course you can go up.
Right, we'll stop this.
I'm sorry.
He's going to have to climb it.
Yeah.
That's why I have this.
Yeah, that's right.
Who's that lady there?
I can't see that.
Oh, no hands.
Lots of spiders on here. The people are scared of spiders.
Oh, no, it only goes.
Not me.
I'm not.
Not me. I love them.
Some spiders.
Don't you like spiders here? Oh, I love them, mate. I hate them. Spiders. As long as there's not one in my bedroom, it's fine. Oh, there's that one. Oh, wow.
Yes.
Oh wow.
Not coming up because of the spiders, is she?
No.
They do jump.
Oh, nice.
No, they're not jumping spiders. They're only cellar spiders.
And there's well, he stepped out. Oh God. That's heavy, that man. Oh.
I'm sure someone's just crawled down my back. It's alright, it just felt like something touched my back.
Just paranoia.
So this is the drop room. Hangman's waiting for you. Your hands are tied behind your back, and then that's unlocked as well, but you can't. I haven't got the key for that. And you stepped out through that doorway onto the gallows, and then trapdoor lever, but not a broken neck. Not then. The rope was tight. All it was a more convenient way of taking the ground from underneath your feet. It was only later when this guy here, William Marwood, executioner, realised that if the rope was loose rather than tight, when you went through the trapdoor it would break your neck. But before then you just died of slow strangulation. Taking, as I say, anything up to 20 minutes, sometimes half an hour. Yeah, that's actually, well he's got a white cap over his face. That's all that he says.
Nice.
Before they hanged him.
So those are the three same death masks.
These are Bonsall, Bland and Hume. They're their death masks. I mean, he looks quite happy considering they just strangled him to death up there on the roof. Don't you think? He sees hair up and everything. Kiss girl. Yeah. These are not the originals. The originals I found, got back in Scotland Yard's Black Museum.
Oh, oh.
And they shouldn't be there, they should be here.
No, yeah, they should be here. Why it's not on your
Well, I had them for a year in that glass case there, with a rope that was actually used. That rope there hanged a guy in front of this building, and it's on display it was on display. And anyway, then after a year, they said, well, we'll have them back now. So before, at right angles along the grave here,
Oh, wow.
and then they built this on top of it.
Well, my house is on one.
I'll just go on my phone
know
now
that?
because I've left my bloody batteries.
Hey, sorry. I found out that my house is actually on a
Oh, it
grave.
stinks a bit down here.
Oh! Someone's been having a wee down here.
Bloody right.
Oh, dirty messes. How dare you piss on my grave?
All right. What's that, Phil?
An old toilet paper there, so probably using a toilet.
What?
I was going to say it smelled.
Oh, it's really?
Good, is it?
So the people that were buried, Richard, were...
They were all murderers and suicides. But they dug them up in 1929.
So they were all laid out.
They were all laid out at right angles with gravestones, would you believe?
Right,
And they dug them up and took them to a cemetery in Derby.
right.
But when we did the dig on that drop room, we found leg bones down there.
So you know what we were saying about when they were obviously hung,
Yes.
and they didn't get proper burial because of obviously the crime that they committed.
Yeah, yeah.
When they were dug up from here and then reburied, was that consecrated, unconsecrated? Would
This
they
was unconsecrated ground,
have, yeah, would they have gone to
and
the-
where they go to Nottingham Road Cemetery.
yeah.
That's a very good question. Whether that part where they were buried was consecrated, I don't know. You see, the same thing applies. You see, being laid to rest is fair enough, but they also expected to remain at rest.
Yeah,
That's
so they're
why-
getting the bodies moved.
That's why there are so many haunted sites where there's disturbed ground.
Yes.
Even Amityville. I mean, I don't know whether it's true or not, but if it is, well, whether it is or it isn't, the properties and that house was on a North American burial site
Yes.
in Native Americans, and they dug them up. And being America, they probably just
Didn't
took
think
the
there was
bones
anything
away.
good around them.
Yeah, it's just.
yeah. I don't know that, but,
Yeah.
so disturbed ground does
Yeah.
make a difference.
It does, yeah.
Yeah, it's all this being laid to rest meant so much to people. I suppose it still does now, or does it? I don't know. See, even to this day in Southern Ireland, there are only 2 crematoriums.
Really? Which,
Only 2?
all of Ireland, like southern and northern.
Well, I'm not sure about northern because obviously they're slightly different, isn't it? Because
Yes.
they're British, isn't it?
Yeah.
And partly Protestant, although there are more Catholics in
Yes,
there.
there is.
But yeah, but certainly in Southern Ireland, there's only 2 crematoria, and the reason is it's back to the same old. You know, the body has to be whole on burial.
Somebody found their horn for the car.
Come on.
And Richard's losing the combination of a lot with the keys.
You wait till you see this. You just wait till you see this.
I want to take a picture of them.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Oh, it's got
Oh, my
legs.
God. They killed me.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
Good, isn't it? These were built to protect the jail against attack. Because in 1831, the Reform Bill rights were chucked out the House of Lords, giving you and me the right to vote. And there were huge riots, and they rioted up here and laid siege to this jail. And shots were fired from up above, and people were killed in the crowd. And then 3 years later, they built these 2 Martello towers with slits all the way around them, as you'll see when you go up, for them to fire muskets at people if they were attacking the jail. It was like a fort.
Yeah,
Yeah. But that is magic, isn't it? And in here, this little room in here, wooden echo, was the armoury where they kept the muskets. So if you want to have a look as you go by, and we'll go up and have a look at the top.
Yeah.
And take note of the alcoves on the way up, because I'm going to be putting you in them.
Here we go. Oh, nice cobwebs. Lovely.
They're everywhere.
Oh, little alcoves. Okay. Wow. Wow. Whew.
It's on, yeah.
It's warm. Yeah. Wow, look at that.
How do you remember all this, Richard?
Years old. Years old.
I don't know.
Oh my God, they're eating him.
Isn't it? Yeah.
It's warm. Fair play.
Did you put your white lens already on it and glued it?
Yeah, I glued it on.
Oh, Jesus.
You don't need to take it
Keep going. Keep going.
No, I did it with hot glue so I can take it off.
Yeah. Now it's knackered me already.
You alright, Jackie?
She's coming.
Just take your time. Take your
Well
time.
done.
Nearly there, Jackie.
Minnie wants to fight the spiders for it.
You'll be taking them all home.
No, I've got nothing with the big tarantulas on. I told her I've got 86 now.
What, 86 tarantulas?
Yeah, she's got everything.
Wow.
Tarantulas, I've got 3 snakes now. Ooh, look, I've got slugs all
Um,
over the top end.
She's got mantis.
Yes, I have got praying
She's
mantis.
got
Wow.
Scorpions.
scorpions, screaming cockroaches.
Oh no, I'm not hissing cockroach.
Hissing, sorry, screaming, hissing, same thing.
Good God. Right. So. Oh, hang on, there's a ghost coming. No, it's not.
Oh, sugar.
Me?
Who just found it?
Where's the lift?
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
It's warm,
So
isn't
this was
up here.
this was built to take to defend. They even had a fireplace here. To keep them warm. Yeah, it's been on, hasn't it? It's been on, hasn't it? So right, when I
going to die soon.
when I took this over, I had they spent 11,000 quid on. They had to put a roof back on it. There was no roof. It was rotting. There was 14 tons of pigeon muck in here, which they had to get clear, and which at least we're preserving it. And I thought that the drop room would be more haunted than here, because nothing happened here. It's a tower. It wasn't used. It wasn't used. Nobody attacked it or anything like that. So I can't see any reason on earth why it would be haunted. Was my take on it. How wrong I was. The stuff that goes. Have you done stuff here, Phil?
Yeah.
Or not? Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. You see, 2 things. Number one, the number of lighthouses that are haunted around the planet. Because again, why would a lighthouse be haunted?
True.
Who lived? What happened? Did the lighthouse keeper fall down and break his neck? Possibly.
Not surprised.
How many people fell down and broke their neck in houses?
Oh, they
Yeah.
So
come
there's
exhausted
no
in
difference. But
Keeping
it's.
up with it.
I think it's towers. I believe act like a beacon, and it's a stone tower, and it's back to my theories about stone and energy coming out of stone and attract blah blah blah. And I think that it's a possibility because basically the graveyard's there, that side, and this side is where the drop room was.
Yeah.
So you've got death that side, burials this side, and
The other side.
executions, and it's a possibly a beacon. Because other than that, I don't see why anybody, unless one of the builders fell down and broke his neck, or one of the guards broke his neck. There's no reason for a haunting particularly. But the thing is that it ceased to be a prison in 1916, and from 1916 to 1918 it became a military detention centre. And right, we switch the lights out, and we'll do it in a minute, and we send you back down the stairs and put you all in those alcoves and switch the lights off, and something comes past people, and it's darker than the darkness. I still can't quite get my head around this. It's darker than the darkness. But it never comes to the top. It stops at the last alcove and never comes any farther. People have seen it standing up here, can see it. And we've had 3 mediums from different paranormal groups, admittedly, that don't know each other, that have all picked up a young lad that joined the army during the First World War, underage, and went over to France and ran away. And was caught, sent back to England and imprisoned here at the Military Detention Centre and court-martialed and shot for cowardice.
Wow.
Up against, well, when I say up against the wall, I've got no proof of that at all. But, and he says he's still here because he ain't no coward, and he can't leave until he gets a pardon.
Oh.
Now, when we started the dig, we had some guys. I invited them to come along when we were doing the dig here with metal detectors. They found all sorts of stuff: military buttons, a Derby Gaol button here, and one of the guys found 3 cartridge cases, 303 cartridge cases, about 20 yards from the wall. Now, why would, and they've been fired. Now, I don't see what, if they were going to execute someone, you'd execute them up against the wall where the graveyard was.
Yeah.
There's no doubt, up against the wall.
Yeah.
And there's 3 bullets. He didn't find 12 bullets, but he did dig up 3. And when he showed them to me, the first thing I did was, because every bullet has a date on it, on the rim, and all 3 of them are dated 1916. Now, if they'd been dated 1897, they'd have been okay, but if they'd been dated 1919, they wouldn't have been okay. But they are correct. They are. So it does back to me with my history behind the ghost, if you know what I mean. It's a possibility that he was shot because the 303 bullets been found, fired. I don't know, but he's supposed to haunt this place.
Unless they think, well, if you say about strange theory, could you think that would be because he was literally on the run and he was hiding? That you might think this was some sort of like hiding space?
It's possible, yeah. So, what I suggest now is, if you want to, get each of you into an alcove.
Yeah.
I'll do that.
Yeah,
You don't want to do that.
But literally,
Yeah, but Phil knows the place. Don't forget. And I'll go for it. I'm going to switch the light. I'm going to switch the lights out when you're in place.
Okay.
And I just want to see what happens, because to be honest with you, on the events that we've done here, nearly every time something's happened. Tonight might be.
How many, is there enough alcoves for us to all fit?
Yeah, how many? Wait, hang on, this is 1, 2. We've only got 6 alcoves.
Okay, who's stepping out?
I'll step out.
You sure?
Yes.
What? Seriously?
Huh? No, I've eaten
We'll stand up
tonight.
here and watch, because I'm coming back up here. So follow me down and position. I'm afraid you have to do a bit of limboing because you have to go underneath the ropes
Limbo?
to get in.
Yeah, I know what it means.
Right.
No, the boobs are getting in the way.
Same here.
Not got any boobs.
Moves.
Yes, man.
Yeah, they're just getting away, mine.
Yeah.
So,
No, you just get flipping friction burns. That's what it is.
Hey, my movies.
I'm pointing to the actual black
No, do
things.
you want me to tell you why? I thought
Okay,
that
where do we
separately.
start?
I was going to get a screw on, but that's a magnet. And
Right.
it stays.
Right.
Well, stays on, yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm sweaty now. Comes off. Alec,
I hear you.
come on.
I'm on your way,
Get
but
on the bloody stage.
No, I'm
I'm doing the 10. I'm doing the 10.
which one are you going into, Jackie?
No, where's me going?
I think you're in that one.
I'm in this one, yeah.
Alright, hang on, there you go. Right,
Where are we?
I'm going to sit on my chair doing
that
that.
one, yeah. When you're all in, it's lights out.
Let me sit on my chair.
Wait, I'm going in
How
there.
many
It's
more
one, just one.
What have we got left? 2.
Yeah.
2 of us.
don't know what. Coming down.
You're coming down, you're going down the bottom?
Well, you can go to the armoury.
I'm going in the top.
Oh, yes.
You're going to armoury, yeah?
Yep.
That's the matter of interest. Yes.
I did it.
Did any-
It's okay.
You close it. Good
Okay,
luck.
so
There you go. Take the
Okay, so
normal.
This is just something the alcoves. Down the stairs.
So yeah, we're all going in it.
I'm sweating like a
So
bird as
yeah,
well.
we're in the outcome. So apparently bigger will be cast. So we'll see. We'll see it.
Obviously,
I'm running out of them.
complete
So yeah, the lights will go off in a second.
on anything.
Yeah.
Go.
Just to let you know that we'll switch the lights out. And we're going.
You won't be able to get out for a minute.
Okay,
We're just standing in the door to see if there's anything
Hang on. See where am I?
okay.
No. This is me going by the way.
It's alright, I've got you. We've done this a few times.
Okay, so
Seems bloody right, yeah.
just walking back up the stairs.
This is me,
Yeah.
not a spirit. Well,
Can't see Richard.
Who felt that?
What was that? What was that?
me.
I know. You're alright then. You can just see his outline going up the steps.
Can you hear me, Phil?
I can hear you. What do you want?
We've got Phil down in a room downstairs. Jackie's right next to me if you can't see it.
Right now, you need to keep your gob shut
Okay.
and
Sorry.
just listen.
Be quiet, pass it
and
on.
sense.
Pass it on down
And
the
then
stairs, be
if
quiet.
you do see something, if the young man that still haunts this tower, young sir, if you're around tonight, I say good evening to you. We think we know you quite well by now. We don't mean you any harm. We're a group of enthusiasts that would be very pleased if you could do something for us, if you could do what you do so often and just come up the stairs.
Can I hear it?
But there's nothing to stop you coming all the way up the stairs tonight. You know me by now, and you do it so often. Please